So I was going to make a talk about how technology is inclusive, because it has been very inclusive for me. And I talked to it in our company with Abby and with other girls from the company. And then I realized that my experience as just my very own experience, and that technology is not always the answer to being inclusive. So I changed it a little bit so that it kind of reflected on why it has been inclusive to me and maybe not to others. So I'll start with a short introduction of Eden. I'll still try to make it. So Eden is an ETH spin-off. We founded just 3 years ago. We are bringing neuroscience into hearables, so into your earphones. And we want to enable the Internet of Humans. So that means like how to connect yourself with and through the digital world. So what we are doing currently is that we're working on this true wireless platform, integrating it our electrode material for biosensing. And what we are building throughout the whole company is understanding yourself based on your brain waves, connecting this metric to your digital world and digital experience so that you would have a personalized digital experience. So our journey, we started as a material innovation company. It began at the very beginning of our company as wanting to make sensors more comfortable so that we could actually wear those sensors every day and address people who are still healthy so that we can help improve preventive medicine. So that was like the base of our development when we were still doing our masters at ETH. So we have like 2 products. One is on the market and one is about to be released, which is really about just the sensor. And as I mentioned, we have focused on hearable, specifically on brainwave monitoring, so that our whole company has shifted from material science and electronics into also data interpretation and also data visualization. And that's us. That's Idun. And I just wanted to highlight a bit the differences that we have in this company. So we have the youngest is 18, the oldest is 49. We have people from Switzerland, Germany, Hungary, America, Canada, India. We have a baker, we have a chemist, material scientist, computer scientist, biomedical engineers, neuropsychologist, and finance expert. We're 8 females and 8 males. We have 2 working dads. We have 1 person married, 1 person engaged, you are in a relationship, you are singles. What we all have in common is that we're still, and yeah, I hope it's going to continue like this, but we're all healthy. So this is the only thing that we don't have diversity. And I jump in with a short introduction as myself, and specifically my relationship to inclusion and empowerment. So this presentation was quite I would say a therapeutic realization for me, because I was like, okay, if it's, I really had to think why I always had those good experiences and why this is just for myself and how can I give this back. So this is me. It's 1992. We're in South Africa. It's apartheid. Sorry, someone called me. Oh, yeah. I thought maybe something was not working. So it's apartheid. My dad is working, bringing about 100 babies to the world in the poorest country and hospital in South Africa. And my mom is bringing us up. And for me, this picture is, it's so weird to think about that I was alive and breathing in a time where there was something like apartheid. I mean, it feels so far away, but I was actually a baby. That was my nanny, and we were not kind of allowed to live together. And I also really love this picture because when you are a child, you don't see those differences. you like the person for the person and not for the color or the gender or the age. And for me, this is a really nice picture. And this is my oldest brother, so he's my personal role model. He's still 4.5 years older than me, and he has a very important role in my, I would say, in my career, in my self value, and he's very proud of me, and he always took me everywhere. So this is like his description of me, like for a few weeks ago, and that's really what I feel when I think about him. So he's very proud. He always admired me for my intelligence, creativity, independence, and I'm a go-getter, and I never was afraid of anything when I was a kid. So he was my role model, and he was so proud of me. So I went into skiing. I did everything like him with him, and he was always proud of him. So I went to ETH because of him. I did math and physics in high school because I wanted to do it too, and he was always supportive. This is another, so two other very important people. As you can probably see, my mom and my grandma. Those two ladies, they actually gave me the capital to found this company. So I just finished studying, and I was like, okay, I have a kind of, do you have 50,000 Swiss francs to just give to me to make a company? And yeah, it was never a question. They all said, okay, you have it, you do it. And so I have a bit of a complicated relationship to my mom because we are very different, and I was best buddy with my grandmother, and so it was easier for me to understand, okay, what is it in my grandmother that really inspired me? And I think there are really two things. Like, she really had the solution mindset. So every problem that you have, if you work for it and plan on it, it's in your hands and you can solve it. And that has been something that is really true when you go on doing your own company. You're not focusing on problems. You are not scared of problems. It's just like sit down, breathe, plan, work, and it's gonna work. And that's really, really true. And also something very important that I learned from her, it's the small things in life that are important. You're gonna see later what I mean in empowerment. Those are the small things that are important. And my mom, if anything I learned from her is that love, friendship, human suffering, and human connection has absolutely no boundaries. It has nothing to do with age, nothing to do about social background or immigration background. So she taught me this, I think, in her way, not very consciously, but she did. Like every love story that you can imagine from Hollywood, like impossible love story, my mom, she had them. So she's very, she's a liver. And my parents were divorced like when I was a baby, so I didn't have a lot of time with my dad, but there was something important, and that was music, this piano. And music has, for me, it's always been a safe space to express emotion, and a safe space is really very important, and he always supported me in this safe space. And last but not least, which is very important, what I learned between my parents, because they had a very bad divorce and really didn't like each other. There is no one truth. Two people in the same situation at the same time can have two very different experiences, and you just cannot judge it. That belongs to them. And there's like a few of those things that when I thought about why are we so inclusive at EDUN, I reflected upon it. I was like, there are so many things that I got from my own upbringing. And so then it goes into education. So I always had this specifically for music. I call it now arts or math. And I always loved the structure of physics and math and solving problems. And so yeah, I was kind of, okay, what do I do? Do I do arts or do I do math? And I thought, okay, I will settle for both. And I started with architecture in Lausanne at the ETH. I hated it. I really hated it. Everything was about dress code, how you present yourself, how you bluff. And it was also very much, like if you're a real artist and this is your safe space to express your emotions and you get just like, I don't like it, that's shit. It's really hard. And I didn't have it. I didn't have it to just go through with architecture. But I had a course in neuroscience and I was like, okay, this is fascinating to me. I'm going to do something that helps me go into neuroscience. And I went back to math for 6 months to get my brain straight again. And this, I don't know, the structure really, really helps me to keep healthy. And also, like, I call it math, but it can be science, it can be engineering. It has been my safest place to be creative with others. And I think this is something really, really important, is the creativity that you bring into this domain is very valuable. And what I really like about science, engineering, or like for you, it's mostly also coding. It's an international language. And it's the same for music. Then I went on at ETH doing health sciences and technologies. So we were roughly 50-50 male-female ratio. So it was very natural to be a female, kind of. I never felt observed. I always felt like they were also quite happy that girls joined the classes, also in classes where there were only males mainly. I also always felt like my creative ideas would be useful and you could dress as you want, no one cared. And that's one part where I started thinking, engineering is very inclusive, no one cares. But then I talked to Abby and I talked to Swati, the Indian girl in our company, and they were just like, that's not my experience. Abby, you will maybe tell later, she did engineering in Canada, and that was very sexistic. So I started to think, okay, I was so lucky for so long. And I then also founded met my co-founder, that's Simon, and we started with the idea of co-founding Idun during our just after our bachelor and throughout our master. And he has been a very important part in me becoming a co-founder and me becoming a manager and me becoming a role model for some people. And he's like, towards me, he's very respectful. He's very encouraging in the things, when I doubt or when I'm not sure. We also have a very safe place for criticism, which I think is very important for inclusion and empowerment of people. And we laugh a lot, which I think is very important. And we're very loyal to each other. So he has been very, he's a very important part of who I am professionally today. And so I wanted to share some of my personal experience so far with this whole, my whole path, I would say. And something that is very important for me is that I truly, really don't care what body you're in, also what age you are. It's really, for me, it's more about your mind and your heart. And for those who are on Reddit and 9gag, you will recognize him. For those who haven't, you can just Google the soul meme. You will see what I mean. And I always thought that this is the main reason why I always feel connected. And I have always felt respected and valued for my ideas, and I always took it for granted. And I never thought of me as being a young white female. And that's because I never had to. When I was doing this talk, I was like, actually, I was lucky. And the people who were not so lucky, they're also telling us, like, at Idun, we are in a bubble. So I'm living in a bubble. I realized that, but it's a really nice bubble. And So I wanted to share a bit like from what I learned as a person and how much it flew into the company, because I think like the value of the company is very much built by your own personality. And it's also like when you're a leader, you take all your problems with you, your personal problems and troubles with you. So it's very much linked to how you are as a person. But for me, like difference is really the main driver of growth. And if there is one person I really, really realize that is my life partner, we are very different. And it helps you like just reflect on yourself more and question yourself and maybe realize that your opinions and your way of thinking is really not international. It's yours, but that's not everybody's. And it's really interesting, I think, when you have differences to realize who you are, how you think, how you act. And also very important for me, like differences, they should not be ignored, but they should be embraced. I'm not about saying there is no difference between male and females, or there is no difference between black and white, or there's no difference between healthy and sick. I don't think that that this is how we should deal with it. And there are differences between people, but also what I learned, that's also part of from my mom, but it's that emotions, they are the common denominator. I call it mammals because I like humans and animals. Yeah. So there is, even though you're very different, you will always find touching points on more human suffering and human emotion level. This quote, which is one of the quotes that kind of struck me when I was a child reading Harper Lee, is that you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view. And that's going back to there is not one truth. And I think that's also very important when you are in a company and you have different people, they're going to experience the same thing just differently. And it's not yours to judge what this person is interpreting or why is this person getting hurt. And all those are also notes to myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect on all of those, but it's also notes to myself. And yeah, important for me, that's something I had to work on. It's that you cannot judge the suffering or struggles of a person by its observable cause. Because like for me, it was mainly, I cannot judge or say this person is weak because he's having, for example, a mental breakdown, or she's having a mental breakdown because of this little cause. Or that would never happen to me, I'm stronger, for example. And then like to feel like connected to this person, of like, okay, if this person feels as shit as I do when I'm having a mental breakdown for whatever other reason, then I really feel sorry for this person. So that was one of the big learnings for me. And so also you never forget what you've received. I mean, you've seen it in the few slides at the beginning from my childhood. And I'm never going to forget this. And so don't forget to give. And this is a specific note to myself. It's never too early to be giving, because I usually feel like I'm such like I have to learn more. I'm in the puppy role, let's put it that way. But I think like everybody here has something to be giving, and we should not kind of wait for us to have more experience or whatever more to be in that position. And that went and that flew a lot into our values in the company. So just the 5 first are very related to those points I told before. So we have like open minds and honest communication, be real and be respectful in that sense that you are who you are, but don't be an asshole, be genuine about other people, and express your fears and express I don't know, whatever is wrong with your current situation at the moment. Credit where it's due. So we have a very good team all working together, but we also like to acknowledge when people did something really great. And customer is equal partners. And this is one like find the human behind it. So that's something very important that we learned throughout our journey as entrepreneurs, that if you want to have good customer relationship, usually it's really helpful to find the human behind the customer. And pay forward, that's something that is new on our list, but I like it very much, is it's going to come back at some point. So be genuine, be helpful, and you'll see that goes a long way. And so at Eden, we're still living in a bubble. And so I'm just going to share with you my 2 cents of how we try to be inclusive and empowering. And I think like you should think about your own bias a lot, try to. And I would specifically say also towards yourself, not just toward others, because you probably have a way of, like, you imagine yourself in a perspective. And I think it's good sometimes to really question our own bias towards ourselves and also towards others. I mean, few things can happen. It's like there was this discussion. I didn't know if this person was a female or a male. And then I was like, why is this? It's like, would I see this person differently if I knew? And so there's things you can really ask yourself. Also very important, I think, like, your truth is not international, so don't identify too strongly with your opinions, because if you do that, you are excluding other people, and you're also gonna get directly hurt or whatever if you think your opinions are too important. So I think that's something important, to be inclusive. And openly talk about those topics in your company. You'll be surprised. I was surprised, and I think that was really good to talk about it. And also, you should ask for empowerment. Like, I need your back on this, or I need your feedback, and help me prepare for this meeting. I mean, if you have someone in your company that you really think, okay, this girl or this guy, they know how it goes. I want to be like that. Just go to them and say, okay, can you just give me some help for that? And also be conscious about how little you need to do to include and empower in your surroundings. And for us, we do a few things, or there are a few things that, for example, my co-founder does and that we do in meetings. It's giving a platform for opinion. So when we are in meeting, and I know, for example, mainly females, they tend to restrain for giving their opinion in a meeting. And if I kind of sense that, and I know this person is actually the expert, or this person should have an opinion, I will actively ask this person. But it can also be like someone that is very young in the company and doesn't feel comfortable because he's or she's the youngest. So I will actively give them the platform to discuss and to give his or her opinion. And also, the way you present your colleagues in external meetings is also, for me, it has been very important. Like Simon, when he presents me towards investors or any people who meet us as co-founder, he will be very speaking very highly of me towards those people, and that's really, really, really helpful. So yeah, there's a few things. Also, show your weaknesses as leader, and by showing it, I mean more talk about your weaknesses as leader. That goes a long way for being inclusive. For example, in our company, Simon and myself, we decided to openly talk about our mental health, how we struggle and how sometimes we don't struggle, or how we work on this. And that has been really helpful for everybody to say, okay, I can talk about it if I need to, and I don't need to be perfect to be a leader. I don't need to be perfect to be a co-founder or whatever. And also, I know it's not for everybody, but like in my company, I always if I have my periods and it hurts and I'm like, oh, I cannot work, and I'm not hiding it for anybody. And then like all the girls are like, okay, I can have a female body and it's not a problem. So yeah, I think it's very important if you lead people to show your weaknesses. And my last wish for you, it's like if you're an image of respect or admiration, so show when you're proud, because this will really go a long way. Just imagine like you have your role model or something, someone you admire telling you, hey, I'm really proud of what you've done. It's really, really helpful to feel empowered. Oh, I would be very happy to talk about your experience because, as I saw talking to my people in the company, yeah, there are very different experiences that need to be heard. So, thank you for your attention.